So now we're back to Godot docs, getting started, our first 2D game. And now we're going to be creating the enemy, all right? So now it's time to make the enemies our player will have to dodge, all right? Their behavior will not be very complex. Mobs will spawn randomly at the edges of the screen, and and they'll choose a random direction and move in a straight line, all right? So we're going to create a mob scene, which we can instance to create any number of independent mobs in the game. All right. So let's start off with this node setup. We're going to click scene and then new scene from the top menu and then add the following nodes. All right. So we're going to start with rigid body 2D, and then we're going to rename it mob. And then we're going to give it children of animated sprite 2D, collision shape 2D, visible on screen notifier 2D. Hopefully I can remember that. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Let's go. Scene, new scene. Scene, new scene. Other node. Let's say rigid. Rigid 2D body. Okay. Rigid body 2D. Create it. All right. Let's do a control A on that one. And what was the next one? It was collision something. Collision shape 2D. All right. Create. What was the other one? Something animated something. Was it animated sprite 2D? Okay. Let's do that. Control A. Animated sprite. Actually, let's have rigid body selected when we do this. Control A, animated sprite 2D. Create it. And then the third one, I forgot. Oh, okay, there we go. The third one, visible on screen notifier 2D. Let's go get that one. Control A, visible. So VIS, visible on screen enabler notifier. Boom, right there. Create it. All right. So now we got that going on. Let's go to the next part. So we have to not forget to set the children so they can't be selected like we did with the player scene. All right. So they're going to be doing this in this one and probably for the rest of them. So let's come over here and let's go over to creating the player scene. Right click that, open this thing up, and we're going to see how to do this because if you're like me, you probably forgot. So we'll come down here and remember this part where we said before we add any children to the player node, we want to make sure we don't accidentally move or resize them. So we just click this button here. It was like the group or something. Let's go look at it. Visible on screen. No, rigid body right here. And then we'll click. Huh? Where's it at? 2D. Let's go open 2D. Oh, there we go. All right. And then let's click this one right here. This group selected nodes right there. All right, cool. So now whenever we click this thing right here, no matter what, it'll go back to 2D body, no matter which one we're on. Click it, 2D body, just like that. All right. So now that we're doing that, let's go see what the next part is. So let's get rid of this here. And we're going to select the mob node. Oh yeah, we needed to change the rigid 2D body or rigid body 2D to mob. So let's come over here and rename this mob like this. Mob, boom, mob, boom, enter. Awesome. So now let's come over here and we're going to select the mob node and set its gravity scale property to, gravity scale property in the rigid body 2D section of the inspector to 0. And this is going to prevent the mob from falling downwards. Gotcha. All right, so we'll come over here and we'll have mob selected. It's already selected. We'll go over to the inspector and we will say gravity scale 0. Let's just, boom, there we go. All right. So now that we got that, come on now. I don't know what's with Chrome, honestly. It's been doing this for days. whatever. All right. In addition, under the collision object 2D section, just beneath the rigid body 2D section, we're going to expand the collision group and uncheck the one inside the mask property. We'll uncheck this right here. And this is going to ensure the mobs do not collide with each other. All right. So let's do that. We'll come over here and we've got mob selected. We'll come to collision. Yes. And then we'll take this mask 1 off right there. And now let's go and see what's next. So we're going to set up the animated sprite 2D like we did for the player. This time we have 3 animations: fly, swim, and walk. Okay. And there are 2 images for each animation in the art folder. Right. So remember how we did this? We'll come over here and we'll start out by selecting animated sprite 2D. And then we've got to do the thing where we click animation over here. And then we'll see the sprite frames here. And then we've got to say new sprite frames like that. And then we click this here and that'll open up this little animation frames section where we can change, where we can add in whatever. So we're going to change this default to walk. And then we also had fly and swim. Right. So let's add 1. We'll add 2. And we'll call this one here fly. And then we'll do this next one and we'll call it swim. All right, there we go. So we got walk, fly, and swim, and let's fill these up. So we've got fly right here. Actually, let's do walk first since it's right here. So walk 1, walk 2. We've got swim 1, swim 2. And then fly up here, we've got fly 1, flying all, whatever, 2. Doesn't matter. All right, and there we go. So let's go check out what's next. So we did that, and we're going to set the animation, the animation speed property has to be set for each individual animation. We're going to adjust it to 3 for all 3 animations, okay? So we'll come over here, and we'll come back over here. And it's going to be right here. There we go. And so we'll come over here, and it's this thing right here. They're all set to 5, so we'll just delete it, 3. Go to swim. You don't even have to press enter. Delete it, 3. And then this one, highlight it, 3. That's what I mean. Highlight 3. And they're all 3 now. All right. So now that we got that, let's go to the next part. We can use the play animation buttons on the right of the animation speed input field to preview our animations. So the right of the animation speed, we can play it. Let's do it. Animation speed, here's these play buttons. We'll push play on this one right here. Play, we see the thing moving like that. Let's do swim, swimming like that. And then we've got this one looking real ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, let's turn that off. So distracting. I like looking at it though, you know. So let's go over here. And we did that. So we'll select one of these animations randomly so that the mobs will have some variety. Okay, that's a good way of doing it. Like the player images, these mob images need to be scaled down. We're going to set the animated sprite 2D scale property to 0.75. All right, so let's do that. So we are on mob. Yes. Scale, transform. Where was it? Transform down here. Let's close these ones up. Well, that's good enough. Transform right here. And we will make it 0.75. So 0.75 right there. Enter. It'll do them both because we're linked up right there. All right. So now this is a little bit smaller. So let's go do the next part. We did that. As in the player scene, we're going to add a capsule shape 2D for the collision, okay? To align the shape with the image, we're going to need to set the road. We'll do the second part later. All right, so first we're going to do this capsule shape 2D for collision. Let's come over here and collision shape 2D. Remember, we come over here to shape under collision shape 2D, and we'll say capsule shape right there. And now the second part says that we need to align the shape with the image, and we're going to need to set the rotation property to 90 under the transform, under transform in the inspector. All right, so let's do that. So rotation is going to be 90 on this. So we'll go over here to transform. We'll say rotation 90. All right, and that's going to make it to where you see how the one dots on this line going this way and the other dots on this line. It's going to switch them to where this is now over here and this is down here. I'll show you in a second. So let's do it. Press enter and you can see these dots changed. All right. So now let's zoom in on the thing and let's actually size the thing. So let's zoom in on it like that, like that. All right. Let's collision shape 2D and let's bring, actually, let's get the other one over. Walking. Actually, how do we do that? Animated sprite. Let's get walk up. This one. All right, great. So now let's go back to here and let's size it up. Let's bring this one down to right there. That's fine. Actually, let's look at the top. Now, let's bring this one over and then let's shrink it up a little bit. All right, let's bring this one down to until it's fully covered, but only one click in. So boom. And then this one, I think that's good right there. Maybe that's a little too shallow. I don't know. How about that? That's a little too far. How about that right there? That's good enough, right? Right there? Good enough. All right, great. So let's go and zoom out some more. No, that's good. Right there. And actually, let's put this thing in the middle while we're at it. Let's grab this and put it right there. All right, cool. There we go. All right, so let's go and see what's next. So we did this, and now we're going to save the screen, the scene. All right, Control S. All right, let's save it as mob.text scene. There we go. And let's see what's next. So for enemy script, we're going to add a script to the mob like this. Okay, so let's do that over here. Let's have mob selected, and then we'll do the plus script right here. Boom. Everything looks good. Create it. All right, so we've got the extends rigid body 2D right there. All right. So let's see, let's go over here. So now let's look at the rest of the script in Ready. Pardon me. So now let's look at the rest of the script. In Ready, we play the animation and randomly choose one of the 3 animation types, all right? So let's get this and we'll go over it in a second, all right? Let's get this and switch up Ready right now. Let's highlight all of 6 and 5 like this. Drop it off. All right, and let's go over this over here. So first we get a list of animation names from the Animation Sprite 2D's sprite frames property, all right? So that's why we got this var mob types equals animated sprite 2D dot sprite frames. So it's this dot sprite frames, and it's going to get, and we're going to do get animation names right here. And this is going to return an array containing all 3 animation names, right? So this thing right here, mob types equals this, which ultimately is going to equal this. All right. So there we go. So this right here is this array. So then we need to pick a random number between 0 and 2 to select one of these names from the list. Array indices start at 0. We know that. So we've got this Randy with what is that thing called? The remainder operator, right? And in, and that's going to select a random integer between 0 and n-1, right? So that's what this is. It's going to be Randy, and then we're going to have the modulo. Let's call it modulo for this one. We have Randy modulo mod types dot size. So this dot size is going to be 3. So 3 minus 1. It's going to go from 0, 1, 2, just like that. It's going to pick one of those. All right, so that's it. That's what's going to happen with that random thing. Let's go to the next part. So the last piece is to make the mobs delete themselves when they leave the screen. We're going to connect the screen exited signal of the visible on screen notifier 2D node to the mob, and we're going to add this code right here. All right. So first off, let's go look at the signal thing. So let's go over to coding the player, open that up, and we're going to go back down here to preparing for collisions, right? So this is the part where it's got the signal thing. So what we do is we're just going to add the, no. We want the player to detect, what is it? We want to do this and we want to do that. After this, if we're using C, never mind. All right. So first we want to say signal, What do we want to do? Signal what? Hold on. I don't think. Oh, I think this hit was a custom, so that's why we had to do that. So we've got to get this node thing up. That's what the deal is. Okay, let's come back over here. So let's go to, what are we doing? This is on screen exited. Let's do that. Let's select this, and let's go over to node and screen exited. What? Is it body shape exited? No, couldn't be. Let's go look again. Oh no, this is on visible on-screen notifier 2D. No wonder. All right, let's go over here. Okay, so yeah, we've got screen exited right there. Let's double click that and connect it. Boom, now we got this connection. So now that we've got that, let's throw this Q free on there, all right? So let's get this. Let's come back over here. Let's select 16 and 15 and do a Control V. All right, so now we've got this Q free thing. What does that do? We'll see in a second, right? No, we won't. What? That's the end of it. This completes the mob scene, so they're not even going to tell us about this. What is this? What? And add this node. What? So with the player and enemies ready in the next part, we're going to bring them together in a new scene. We'll make enemies spawn randomly around the game board and move forward, turning our project into a playable game. What is this? Okay, you know what? I think this is when we're going to have to get out our old buddy, because this is just not going to work for me. That's not going to work. We're going to get all of this. We're going to get this, and we're going to go talk to our old buddy. Not you, DeepSeek. Actually, maybe it's 7 o'clock at night. Maybe we can use you. We'll see. Acknowledge. Only acknowledge that you've seen and reviewed this code. Only acknowledge that you've reviewed this code. Come on, DeepSeek. All right, cool. Let's see what else we want. Okay. It's good. GD script. And what's that QUEUE, that Q free about? Function about, question mark, boom. Is used to safely delete a node from the scene tree. Okay. So it schedules the node for deletion at the end of the current frame, ensuring that all pending operations like physics, updates, or signal emissions are completed before the node is removed. Okay, cool. Yeah, we like that. This is safer than calling free directly, which would immediately delete the node and could cause issues if the node is still being referenced elsewhere. Cool. In our code, QFree is called in the onVisible on-screen modifier. Yeah, we know that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. All right, so that's what it is. It does that. All right, so now we're good. We can go check out the user contributed notes. There's 20 of them. If you want to check those out, there they are. I think we're good. So let's go to the next one. All right, so now we're on to name, what am I saying? The main game scene, and we'll see you next time.